Well, for months, an Oprah Winfrey presidential run was just idle speculation. Now it feels almost inevitable. Thanks to Donald Trump, the age of the celebrity politician may be upon us. And stay here. Mark Steyn is an author and columnist. He joins us tonight. Mark, I want to be clear at the outset and on the record that I'm not in any way criticizing Oprah. I think it's a federal crime. And I pledge never to criticize Oprah in any way. And so I'm not doing that now. But I'm wondering what you made of the reaction to Oprah Winfrey last night, where you had people, even Republicans, or purportedly Bill Kristol, jumping in and saying, run Oprah. What is that?
Well, I think Bill Kristol, if you recall his tweet from a couple of months ago saying how much he supports the deep state against Trump, I think we should draw from Bill Kristol's support of Oprah's candidacy that she has been an agent of the deep state for many years, and that's why Bill Kristol supports her.
It wouldn't surprise me, given the control she seems to have over people's minds. I think we're both assuming that if she ran in the Democratic primary, she'd get the nomination, right?
Absolutely, because, look, you have to figure out, and Wendy acknowledged this in a certain sense, if you're the Democrats, you want to try and drag Bill de Blasio or Elizabeth Warren or Bernie over the finish line, or do you just want to cut to the chase and go with Oprah? And they're betting that if it's Trump versus Oprah, he's not going to be able to do to her what he did to Jeb and Hillary. And and in a sense, that's valid. She was by far the least idiotic person at that awards ceremony last night. I mean, she was crafty and cunning in the way she tied her personal story to this Me Too business. You know, I mean, which I think is actually one of the interesting things about it. You know, to me, that ceremony was ludicrous. I felt for Rose McGowan and Rosanna Arquette and Mira Sorvino as I felt for the girls in Rotherham, England, I spoke to, who'd been sexually abused by these Muslim grooming gangs and then watched as all these opportunist activists and politicians turned the scandal into a way to advance themselves up the greasy pole, and the victims were ignored. And that's exactly what happened last night. Mira and Rosanna and Rose McGowan didn't get any invites to the Golden Globes, and instead all these ridiculous A-listers like Meryl Streep came along and said, well, I'm going to show how much I support defenseless women by only wearing black. So I've ordered my couturier to dress me like Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's. That'll show them. And it was completely preposterous. And Oprah actually took Oprah, who was more opportunist than any of them, actually seized that issue and appropriated it to herself, which I'd be annoyed about if I were Mira Sorvino, but she did it at a skill level that's way beyond Nicole Kidman or Meryl Streep or any of those other ladies.
No, she's talented. There's no question about it, and she certainly is a brilliant communicator. Someone said to me, though, recently, someone who shall remain nameless because he doesn't want to be charged with a crime either, said, you know, I respect Oprah, but sometimes there is, this man said to me, I feel like she doesn't like me, you know?
Right.
Doesn't like me. You think a lot of people feel that way, or what percentage of the population feels like Oprah is on their side?
Well, the question is whether Oprah is on her side. I mean, she gave a rather curious interview, I think it was to the BBC a couple of years ago, where she said that really just old white people need to die. I mean, there is and this is where it gets to Wendy's thing about how she heals us all and she brings us all together. And I'm not actually sure at this stage that talking about Sidney Poitier and Rosa Parks does do that. I mean, for a start, I'm not sure it's anything to do with the challenges we face today, not just because America has elected a black president and the Golden Globes is full of famous and prominent black celebrities, and indeed a biracial American woman is about to marry into the royal family in a couple of months. So it's not just that her parents didn't have a thing about race, but Her Majesty the Queen, who has to approve every royal marriage, doesn't either. And so there was something slightly weird in her attempt, which was effective with the crowd, in trying to connect all these kind of traditional racial tropes to the Me Too thing.
Yes.
Let's not forget, by the way, that all these feel-good movies she's made, like The Butler, that were distributed by Harvey Weinstein wanted a piece of all those affirmative action, feel-good, boosterish movies because it was a great way to get chicks, liberal chicks, to go up to your hotel room. There are all kinds of contradictions at play in the path she's trying to negotiate here.
Everything's more complicated than it looks. Mark Steyn, thank you.
That's right.
For being a Sherpa through that twisted path.
Yeah, which we all need more healing, as Wendy. It's more complicated than it looks, Tucker.
I'm for healing. Thank you, Mark. Some of Apple's own investors are terrified and saying so publicly about how addictive that company's products are, especially to children, and they're not alone. Up next, a big and very well-known tech investor says he now regrets helping create Google and Facebook. Stay tuned for that.